Hello, everybody. Can someone give me a thumbs up or anything if you can hear me right now? All right, I see a thumbs up. Okay. Also, give a thumbs up if you can hear Lama. Lama, will you say something?
Hola, hola.
Thumbs up. Okay. Our neighbors are doing a lot of yard work today, so we're going with our old school headphones right now on a double jack so that we can hear you and talk with you today. So welcome everyone to Dharma Tea Talk. Thank you so much for joining us on a Wednesday to listen to some sweet Dharma. Hola Marty. Hello. Brad, Papa Brad, Nicole, Rasa. Yeah, we want to thank you for joining us here today. And for any of you that might be watching the recording afterwards, we also have 2 other Dharma members here with us on the land. And we're excited to hop back into the 37 practices of a Bodhisattva. And today we're going to be on verse, I believe it's 18. We're on verse 18 today. And we're going to be talking about how we can transform poverty into the path. So I'm really excited about this one. I know that a lot of us have difficulties with our work, with finances, with economy. We see a lot of poverty in the world. And I think that it's a really relevant topic for us to be speaking about how to transform those kind of obstacles onto the path. So muchísimas gracias, Lama, por estar aquí.
Thank you. Thank you. Gracias. Gracias. Vamos a tomar té primero.
All right. Gather your tea, everybody.
Tembala meza.
Sangye Rinpoche, Kyobala me Donche Rinpoche, Tembala me Gendo Rinpoche,
Kyobne kunjo sumla chöba. Tal vez si Jeffrey quiere conectar en la Zoom allá en la casa. Será bueno. Puede escuchar.
Pero ellos después pueden sacar.
Oh, ya.
Ahorita solo va a escuchar nosotros.
Oh, ya. Si quiere escuchar Zoom, puede escuchar. Ahí está Zoom. Ok, entonces compartimos, ¿cierto?
Sí.
Sí, vamos a hacer peregrinaje.
Okay, so first we're going to start with the refuge prayers.
Riendo. Ok. Riendo. Ok. Vamos, cantamos ese peregrinaje de altruista motivación.
So we're going to start by the prayers of altruistic motivation. Ada,
Ada.
¿puede bajarlo un poco?
Oh, ya. Dola na
Dawaje beja, nuvaje beja, dawa soje
mananga
all other sentient beings, especially those enemies who hate me, obstructors who harm me, and those who create obstacles on my path to liberation and omniscience, may you experience happiness, may they be free from suffering, swiftly will I establish them in the state of unsurpassed, perfect, complete, and precious Buddhahood.
대체도 사마게
Bardo,
모시바도
대들인데 손대
선다
선다 바르
릉아예 섬계와라고
Thus, until I achieve enlightenment, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. Until death, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind. From now until this time tomorrow, I perform virtuous deeds with body, speech, and mind.
선제주단 사계정남라 정주 발도다니 갸소제 다계전소계 배선한계 졸라반지르 선제주바쇼
In the Buddha and the Dharma and the most excellent Sangha, I take refuge until I reach enlightenment. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I achieve Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Manam kadanyam besim jentam je dewa dande gyo dande bagyo che
동알 다동알 예교 다라와요
dewa dande jawa gyo che
이리차다니다 라베다냐다와요
May all sentient beings, as numerous as the sky, have happiness and the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May they never be separated from joy, and may they be free from sorrow. May they rest with equanimity, free from attachment and aversion.
Okay. Ahora podemos leer la parte verso.
So now read the verses from the beginning and bring us forward to verse 18
Para conectar, ¿no?
to connect from the beginning and forward. Namo Lokishwaraya. I pay homage to my three doors, to my supreme teacher and protector Chenrezig, who, while seeing all phenomenon lack, coming and going, makes single-minded effort for the good of living beings. Perfect Buddhas, source of all well-being and happiness, arise from accomplishing the excellent teachings, and this depends on knowing the practices. So I will explain the practices of Bodhisattvas. Having gained this rare ship of freedom and fortune, to listen, think, and meditate unwaveringly night and day, in order to free yourself and others from the ocean of cyclic existence. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. Attachments to loved ones are stirred up like water. Aggressions towards enemies burn like fire. Dark are the delusions of forgetting what to adopt and discard. Give up your homeland. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. Well, tocarlo. Just a moment, everybody. Sorry. Just having a little technological thing. Okay. Back. When one abandons. Here we go. When one abandons harmful lands, disturbing emotions gradually decrease. When one is without distraction, virtuous activities naturally increase. With clarity of mind, conviction and Dharma arises. Cultivate solitude. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. Longtime companions will part. Professions gained through difficulty will be left behind. Consciousness, the guest, will leave the guest house of the body, letting go of this life. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. In the company of base friends, the three poisons increase. Your activities of hearing, thinking, and meditating decline. Love and compassion are made absent. Give up unwholesome friends. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. When one attends a true spiritual friend, faults are consumed, and your good qualities grow full like the waxing moon. Cherish spiritual friends even more than your own body. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. Bound himself in the jail of cyclic existence, what worldly God can give you protection? Therefore, when you seek refuge, take refuge in the undeceiving three jewels. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. The subduer said that all unbearable suffering of bad rebirths is the fruit of wrongdoing. Therefore, even at the cost of your life, never do wrong. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. Like a dewdrop. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of a challenge with my computer today. Okay. Like a dewdrop on a blade of grass, well-being in the three planes of existence perishes in but an instant. Seeking the supreme status of never-changing release is the Bodhisattva's practice. When your mothers who have loved you since time without beginning are suffering, what use is your own happiness? Therefore, develop the altruistic intention to free limitless beings. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. All suffering comes from wanting your own happiness. Complete awakening arises from the intention to help others. So exchange completely your happiness for the suffering of others. This is the practice of Bodhisattvas. Even if someone driven by great desire steals all your wealth or lets others steal it, dedicate to them your body, possessions, and all virtues of the three times. This is the way of the Bodhisattva. Even if someone cuts off your head when you haven't done anything wrong, take all their negative deeds upon yourself through the power of compassion. This is the way of the Bodhisattva. Even if others slander you throughout a billion worlds, in return, speak with a loving mind of their good qualities. This is the way of a Bodhisattva. Even if some dig out my hidden faults and insult me in the midst of a crowd, to bow respectfully, perceiving them as spiritual friends, is the Bodhisattva's practice. Even if a person I have dearly nurtured like my own child should view me as an enemy, to love him even more as a mother does a child stricken with illness. This is the practice of a Bodhisattva. Even if driven by pride, an equal or inferior being tries to demean me, placing him with respect like a guru at my crown is the Bodhisattva's practice. And today the verse that we're speaking about is transforming poverty into the path. Though I may lack sustenance, be constantly abused, stricken by grave illness and evil spirits, in return to be undaunted and to take upon myself all wayfarers' misdeeds and ill-being is the Bodhisattva's practice. And just going to stop my share for just a moment. And Nicole, I'm going to make you the host right now because my computer's not allowing me to let other people in when I'm reading. So you can let them in now, and I will continue sharing with Lama. There we go.
Inhalamos y exhalamos profundamente,
So we're going to inhale and exhale deeply,
solo trayendo nuestra presencia
bringing our presence here
y reflexionando, contemplando sobre este texto, versos,
reflecting and contemplating the text and its verses,
y trayendo esa conexión desde comenzamos hasta ahora,
and bringing this connection from the beginning when we started until now.
todo ese verso hablando de seguir un solo propósito.
All of these verses are talking about one single purpose,
Propósito dice como transformar nuestra mente,
is to transform our mind,
disminuir las aflicciones,
decrease the afflictions,
también cómo transformar a diversidad dentro de la felicidad.
and how to shift adversity into happiness.
Solo ese propósito principal.
That is the principal purpose.
Y desarrollando nosotros cualidades,
Develop our qualities,
la bodhicitta,
like bodhicitta,
compassion, la
compassion,
conciencia,
consciousness,
amor incondicional,
unconditional love,
generosidad,
generosity,
todo cualidad nosotros tenemos
all of these qualities that we have.
solo para recordar,
Just remember,
reconectar,
reconnect,
activar,
and activate,
despertar
awaken.
y simplemente sentir eso.
Just feel this.
Inhalando las cualidades.
Inhaling these qualities.
Exhalando todo como qué cosa no queremos en la vida.
Exhaling all of the things that we don't want in life.
Inhalando, exhalando profundamente
Inhaling and exhaling deeply.
y poco a poco moviendo los cuerpos
Little by little, moving your body,
y tomando té.
drinking your tea.
Ok, maravilloso. Entonces, hoy día nosotros verso 18 versos de 37 para de Bodhisattva.
Now we're on the 18th verse of the 37 practices of a Bodhisattva.
Entonces, nosotros estamos tratando de aprender como conducta de Bodhisattva.
So right now we're trying to learn the conduct of a Bodhisattva.
Entonces, usted sabe, Bodhisattva significa una mente, coraje, la sabiduría y amorosa.
So many of you know that the word Bodhisattva means a mind that is courageous, loving, and wise.
Y 100% dedicando su vida para servicio incondicionalmente beneficio para otros.
And 100% dedicating their lives to be unconditionally at service of others.
Ese es un ser, Bodhisattva, ¿no?
That's what it means, like a being, a
Alcanza un
Bodhisattva.
nivel de bodhicitta temporal y último.
It is a being that has achieved both a level of awakening at the relative level and at the ultimate level.
Entonces, eso nosotros tratar, queremos ese tipo de vida, ¿no?
So this is what we're trying to achieve. We'd like this kind of life.
¿Cuál beneficio yo quiero hacer Bodhisattva?
Why is it beneficial for me to be
¿Cuál tiene
become a
importante
Bodhisattva?
hacer Bodhisattva?
What would be the importance of becoming a Bodhisattva?
Porque yo quiero feliz,
Because I want happiness
quiero libertad,
and
¿no?
I want freedom.
Porque Bodhisattva es uno ser más feliz del mundo, puede ser, ¿no?
You would say that a Bodhisattva is maybe the beings that are the most happy in the world.
O uno feliz verdadero, ¿no?
It's a true happiness
Que nace dentro.
that comes from the inside.
Entonces, Bodhisattva, ¿por qué siendo feliz? Porque él no tiene ninguna manchas como las aflicciones, ¿no?
Why is a Bodhisattva happy? Because they don't have any stains on the inside.
Y su mente ya tiene control, totalmente tiene control.
His mind, they have full control over
Y
the
él
mind.
quiere o sentir feliz, él quiere o sentir amor, y él puede hacer, ¿no?
If he wants to express happiness or express love, he can do it immediately.
Tiene control, ¿no?
Has full
Como
control.
libertad, como quiera, ¿no?
Like liberty.
Como las aflicciones o los pensamientos no dominan su vida, ¿no?
The afflictions and the thoughts don't dominate his life.
Por eso, libertad, ¿no?
So that's why it's called
Libertad
freedom.
dentro, ¿no?
It's full freedom on the inside.
Entonces, nosotros todavía no tenemos ese tipo,
We
¿cierto?
still don't have this on the inside.
Porque cuando viene un pensamiento negativo, por ejemplo,
For example, when a negative thought
o
comes
positivo,
or positive,
nosotros mente sigue con eso,
our
¿no?
mind fully follows it
Como sin control,
without control,
sin querer,
without even us wanting to.
cualquier emociones, ¿no?
Any of our emotions,
Porque no tiene control.
because we don't have control.
Y por eso nosotros necesitamos felicidad, ¿no? No feliz, ¿cierto?
So that's why we don't have full happiness.
Por eso tratar gente buscando una felicidad afuera, ¿no? Como sentir mejor, ¿no?
That's why people look for happiness on the outside. We're trying to feel better.
O buscando un refugio fuera, ¿no?
Or that's why we're looking for an outer refuge.
Porque lamentablemente fuera nos buscamos todo como impermanencia, ¿no?
And it's because everything that we're trying to find happiness with on the outside is actually impermanent.
Ya, yo puedo comprar un celular, tomar refugio en celular.
So I could take
Mejor celular
I
del
could
mundo.
take refuge in the best cell phone in the world.
Es maravilloso, ¿no? Un
And
momento, ¿no?
it's wonderful in that moment.
Después, ¿cuánto dura eso?
But how long does it last?
Ya, celular, lamentablemente, en algún momento puede caer, puede romper, no sé, algo,
In
etc.
any moment, that cell phone can break or fall.
Cuando rompió, ya falló mi refugio,
And then when it breaks, then your refuge is broken.
¿no? Por ejemplo, ¿no? Eso no puede confianza 100% colgar eso, ¿no?
And so we can't fully put our confidence in that.
Pero por supuesto, puede apoyar poco uno, influencia eso, ¿no? Un método, ¿cierto?
But of course, you could utilize it as a method to do things.
Pero verdad, el refugio es amor.
But the true refuge is love.
Nunca falla, nunca falla. ¿no?
It never falla.
Fallar,
It's never mistaken.
ya, no fallar significa como fallar, ¿no? No sé cómo está bien. Ya, amor nunca engaña a ti.
And love will never take advantage of you.
Compasión nunca engaña. Bodhisattva nunca
And
engaña, ¿no?
Bodhisattva will never fail you.
Por eso es verdadero protección, verdadero refugio.
That's
¿no?
why these are the true refuge, the true
Oh.
protection.
Y entonces sentir eso,
So
sentir eso.
feel
¿no?
that
Entonces conectar con eso, ¿no?
and connect with that.
Y cuando conectamos, disminuye ese momento y desaparece toda la negatividad, ¿no?
So when you can connect with that for a moment, then all of the negativities go away.
Por eso, en uno de los versos de Tenencia Práctica Bodhisattva dice, cuando tú acercas, naturaliza un lugar silencio, como un objeto positivo, naturalmente tu la mente como hace como llama, pura calma y aumenta todas las cualidades de ese, ¿no?
So that's why it says when you go close to nature, that naturally your pure qualities increase.
Ok, tú sientes calor, ¿está bien?
Más es esto pronto, pero
ya,
por el momento
ok.
estamos okay.
Igual puedes mover allá si quieres, ¿ya?
Vamos a esperar
Ajá. No tengo calor,
por eso después.
no calor todavía, ¿ya? Oh, ya. ¿Qué vas a hacer?
¿Esto? ¿Quería
Yo
todavía?
no sé de verso, ¿no? Ni hable de verso todavía. Y entonces haga de ese violento tibetano, dicen. 소와 풍징 딱도 미 예 삽진 내다 된기 따르장 라 로근디도 달라 렌체 징 shumba메바 야제 락렌인. Ahora dice como soa 풍징 se como nosotros momento dificultad en la vida, nuestra vida suceder todo, ¿no? Y con momentos de dificultad económicamente, como pobres, falta de comida o falta de ropa, y también además a veces enfermedades incurables.
So all these different things happen in our life. Like sometimes we don't have enough money, or sometimes we have incurable sicknesses, or we're just like having a hard time. All of these things happen in life.
Claro, nosotros decimos algo feliz y como la bene, como los sufrimientos siempre en la vida,
We
¿no?
want happiness, but all of these sufferings come.
Entonces, eso normalmente, y también, además, personas como la encima de enfermedad, encima de problema económico, alguien también como la crítica, como por ejemplo, hablando mal cosas, ¿no?
And on top of the problems that we might already be having with like economy or any of our sicknesses, then people are also like speaking poorly to us. And this is just another suffering on top of it.
Ya, y de repente nosotros pensamos, estoy yo haciendo mejor que posible, positiva, estoy haciendo, me reciben muchas cosas malas en la vida, puede desmotivar eso,
And
¿no?
so we can be thinking, gosh, I'm just putting my best at life and I'm just getting all of these harsh things. And then we can really become demotivated
Entonces,
or
ahora,
unmotivated.
claro, normalmente hace todo el mundo, ¿cierto? Nosotros hacemos eso.
So it happens to us often, a lot.
Pero ahora estamos aprendiendo cómo Bodhisattva toca eso que hace ellos. Ya,
So
esa
now what
pregunta,
we're
¿no?
talking about is when this happens to a bodhisattva, what do they do?
Uno maestro o no sé, uno lama hace, ¿qué hace eso?
If when these hard things happen to a master, what do they do?
Porque ese problema puede tener quien vive en la tierra, puede tener eso en algún momento, ¿no?
Anyone that lives on earth, these things can happen.
Entonces dice que cuando viene eso, uno grande maestro, no disminuir su, ¿cómo se llama? Su motivación.
So when this happens to a great master, they don't allow their motivation to
Pone
decrease.
más coraje,
They put more courage
más fuerza a su
and more
mente,
strength
¿no?
in their mind.
Y también aceptando nosotros seguramente un causa y efecto, ¿cierto? Importante, nos entendemos causa y efecto,
So,
porque todo funciona ley del
it's
causa y efecto. De
important-
alguna manera nosotros equivocamos.
It's important to understand the law of cause and effect, and that, of course, that we've made mistakes in the past.
¿Sí? Pero tampoco no sentirla como culpa, ¿no?
But also, we don't need to feel blame.
Entonces es importante como
Guilt.
aceptar
We just
eso
accept it
y pensar, oh, ese momento tengo ese pobre, esa enfermedad, más personas me critican, y entonces puedes reutilizar en la práctica de Dharma.
And so when these hard things happen, or when people criticize us, we can actually bring that inward and actually transform that as a practice of Dharma.
Recordamos, pero práctica de Dharma verdadero normalmente no tan agradable.
To practice Dharma in general is not like
Dharma
that.
verdadero y
If you're truly practicing the Dharma, it's not that pleasing.
verdadero medicina no agradable.
The best medicines do not taste good.
Muy marco, muy
They're
ácido.
very
alguno,
bitter and acidic.
¿cierto? Ese es muy buenas.
And so it's good.
Pero esa medicina no para yo gusto, yo no gusto, no depende del gusto, no
This
gusto. Tú
isn't-
realmente quieres curar tu enfermedad, tienes que tomar esa medicina, Marcos.
This medicine isn't something whether you like it or don't like it. If you want to heal yourself, the medicine, you take the medicine.
Porque eso no es algo comida, ¿verdad?
We're not talking about like food.
Estamos hablando de quiere curar mi enfermedad.
We're like, I want to heal my sickness.
Por lo mismo, como ahora, por ejemplo, estamos nosotros, esas son desagradables, ¿no? Como situación, ¿no?
So these are situations that are displeasing.
Ese es Dharma verdadero,
That's
¿no?
a true Dharma.
Si realmente nosotros conseguimos comer esa medicina,
So if we can actually eat that medicine
transformar con la compasión,
and transform it with
con la sabiduría,
compassion and wisdom,
y nuestra práctica aumenta.
then our practice increases.
Y también nosotros desarrollando la paciencia, compasión, ¿no?
And then we develop patience and
Y
compassion.
también purificación, mejor purificación existe, ¿no?
And it's also the best purification that
Y
exists.
tú puedes hacer, a través de esa mi situación, yo puedo aprovechar como todas las seres que pueden liberarte de pobreza, enfermedad y todos
So
problemas.
through this situation, we can imagine that all beings are liberated of their suffering, of poverty, or of discrimination. Any of these things, we can really imagine that they are also decreasing their suffering through our own.
Ese Tonglen,
That's
se llama Tonglen, ¿cierto?
that's the Tonglen.
Realmente recibe a través de mi enfermedad.
So we really receive it through
limpiar.
our own sickness.
Infinita vida, limpiar.
Infinite lives we're cleansing and purifying.
Por lo menos yo estoy ser humano,
And at least I'm a human being,
precioso vida humano,
precious human,
que tiene mucho
that
potencial,
has a lot of
una
potential,
capacidad de mayor
a lot of
entendimiento.
capacity for understanding.
Y muchos seres no tienen eso.
And many beings don't have that.
Entonces tú sientes alegría eso.
So it makes you feel happy.
Yo tengo vida preciosa,
I have this precious life
ese problema,
and this problem,
yo tengo un poder de resolver eso.
and I have the power to resolve it.
Si no va a tapar, ¿no?
And we're
No
not
solo tapar,
we're not
¿no?
just gonna cover it up.
No como escapar con
We're not
eso.
also gonna escape.
Porque igual tú sabemos, nuestro samsara seguir puede tener eso.
So we're in samsara, so of course we're still gonna have that a little bit.
Ya yo, por ejemplo, tengo problema económicamente,
So you can say like, oh, I have economic problems,
o enfermedad,
Or I'm-
etcétera, ¿no?
sick, or in something.
Ya externamente puedes resolver fácilmente, ¿no? Un
Like
momento.
externally, you could actually easily resolve that.
Ya, yo no tengo comida, alguien me regala, o no sé, $1 millón de dólares, por ejemplo, porque resolvió.
What?
No resolvió completamente. Imagino yo tengo pobreza, ¿cierto? Si alguien me regala un dinero, algo cosa, pero resuelve momentáneamente. Pero seguir internamente no resolvió.
Okay. So Lama's saying that whenever things like that happen, that at the worldly level, we can actually resolve them really quickly. Like if I'm poor and then someone gifts me money, then I can resolve that poverty in just a moment. But really, it doesn't resolve the root issue, which is the inner poverty. Like it's the inside.
Pero también igual da volver de ese de pobreza de nuevo, ¿no?
And again,
seguir,
we're
¿no?
gonna have that poverty again.
Porque eso como está sube natural de ley de impermanencia, ¿no?
Because it goes up and down, up and down. This is just the way that the law of impermanence works.
Es todo claro, más como pobreza interior, ¿cierto?
Because really these things are coming from an inner poverty.
Nosotros, por ejemplo, la como miserable, como apego, esos son de, ¿no?
Because
Limitación, ¿cierto? Yo no puedo, yo no
because
tengo
we have
capacidad.
this inner poverty thinking like, I can't do this. I don't have enough. I'm not strong enough. All of this inner talk, that's really where the poverty comes
No está
from.
reconociendo
We're not
potencial, ¿no?
recognizing our potential.
Ya. Por eso, desde grande Bodhisattva, es utilizar en la adversidad transforma en la felicidad.
So this
¿no?
is what we mean by the great bodhisattvas utilizing this adversity to onto the path.
Entonces, desde esa práctica de Bodhisattvas, ¿no?
So this is why it's called a practice of bodhisattvas.
Entonces, nosotros podemos aprender ese poco y poco, no inmediato, no tan fácil, pero por lo menos inspiración, ¿no?
So like this isn't easy to transform right away, but at the very least, we can practice little by little and see this as our inspiration.
Ok. ¿Quiere mover, Caro? Ya, vamos. Vamos a mover poquito.
We're gonna move our table.
Poquito.
We got a lot of impermanence in this session today.
No, ya, ese es maravilloso.
We're right in the sun. Hold
Ese
on.
uno-
Let me get
ese
over
para uno
just one
rícalo.
moment.
Eso uno rícalo.
Okay, we'll be back. 2 minutes. Drink your tea. Hello. All right.
Ok. Ahora tiene alguna pregunta o algunos comentarios sobre esa frase.
So does anyone have any questions or comments around this particular phrase that we're talking about
Esa
today?
frase, por ejemplo, cuando tocamos nuestra vida, ¿cuál mejor? No digamos solo Lama dijo eso, ¿ya? Ustedes también sabiduría. Ustedes opiniones.
So don't just listen to what Lama said, like really think about your situation and your life, and because each of us have wisdom from our own
Claro,
experience.
¿qué gustaría hacer con eso?
And so what are we going to do about that? Rasa, did you unmute because you wanted to share?
Okay. Hi, everyone. I have a question. I guess it pertains to all the verses. What would be some of the indicators that even though it might, someone might progress and then they might move backwards, but what would be some of the indicators that someone's making some progress on the path? How could someone know if they don't have a Lama right there and they're trying to do this work, which seems very complex? How could we see if we're making improvements or not?
Okay, I'm going to just repeat the question so that the people around us that are listening to know it. But the question is, how could we know that we're progressing along the path? So it has to do with all of the Bodhisattva practices, because maybe we don't have a Lama present, or what are kind of signs of realization that this is actually taking birth in our minds?
¿Cómo?
So, ella está preguntando, ¿cómo podemos saber que realmente eso está naciendo en nuestras mentes, que realmente estamos logrando, alcanzando las
Como
las
señal de como
realizaciones,
realización.
sí,
Okay.
que son señales de realización.
Eso normalmente muy fácil.
He said this is actually very easy,
Muy fácil, pero a veces nosotros no ponemos tanta atención, ¿no?
but sometimes we're not putting a lot of attention to it.
Eso sabe simplemente cuando momento de condición, situación de fuera, que reacciona tu mente.
Yeah, it's whenever external situations happen, how does your mind react?
Porque reacciona con la rabia más fuerte, por ejemplo,
If you're reacting with
Rabia.
stronger anger,
significa no ten cambiado nuestra mente, ¿no?
then it means then it's not changing very much.
Y cuando momento de dificultad de algo, nuestra mente seguir calma con la compasión, ¿no?
And if your mind remains calm and with compassion during a hard moment,
Significa tú estás realizando,
it means
estás
that
logrando.
you're realizing and you're achieving.
Entonces, eso es señal más fundamental, ¿no?
So that's a very fundamental sign.
Y eso, y claro, como la disminuir nosotros todas las aflicciones, ¿no?
And then
Como confusión,
decreasing-
apego, rabia,
decreasing the
ego.
afflictions of anger and ego and these things.
Pero ahí internamente uno mente más paz, ¿no?
So the mind is becoming calmer
Y también comprendiendo poco más profundamente como transitoriedad,
and
¿no?
it's starting to understand the transitory nature
Y no poniendo tanta atención como externo, ¿no?
and not putting so much attention externally,
Y porque esa es la básicamente ilusión, ¿no?
because we start to recognize it's kind of illusory. ¿Puedo agregar?
Puede.
I just want to add to that because it's something that me and Lama were speaking about the other day, because it's not always necessarily easy to like make a big jump from like, I used to be reactive and now I'm not reactive. You know, I think there's some mini steps that happen in between as well that I'm noticing. Russ, I think I'm gonna just mute you just for 1 second. Or if you can mute just for a second. I'm hearing feedback from somewhere. There we go. And then you can unmute to respond. So I think there's some mini steps in between that are good to note. Maybe we still respond in the same way because it's our habit, but maybe suddenly we have awareness now. And we're like clearly aware, very excruciatingly aware of the hook and the pattern that we do. And maybe we're now having at least the amount of awareness to like not bite the hook, but it still could be like surging on the inside. It's not like you're just like, oh, just peaceful and calm, you know, like all of a sudden, but maybe you're still experiencing it, but maybe we're some level of control that we're not just bouncing, you know, right on the hook that we normally do. And I think that there's another layer of it as well, possibly, of just like having quite a bit more self-compassion through that. Like, there's my hook again. Hello, little hook. I'm trying not to bite you, but I still want to bite you very hard. I still don't know what other pattern to do instead right now, you know? So like, I feel like when you have like even that a little bit too, that's something that's just stopping the completely habitual blind habit, you know, or even having the capacity to now reflect, oh, that wasn't skillful. Even if we did the thing and then we're like, oh, that was unskillful. And then we had the skill to make amends. I think that all of those could be micro steps as well, that we're on the path. And of course, we continue to come back to the lessons here so that we can continue to make our North Star a bit higher, so that when the day comes and these things happen again, that we do actually just be like, you know what? I've noticed that everything's changing all the time. I can't change it at all. And I finally feel relaxed with this whole thing, you know? So I just wanted to add that there could be some other steps in between.
Ya, fundamental nosotros problema todo tiene la calor. Siempre hablamos nosotros de veneno, ¿cierto?
So we always talk about the 3 poisons a lot.
Siempre hay ese tres, ¿cierto? Siempre
Always those 3 are there.
dice uno de las dice como si fuera nosotros como la principalmente confusión, ¿no?
So principally everything comes from confusion or misunderstanding.
no entendemos,
We
¿no?
don't understand something.
Situación, cualquiera sucede, no entiende,
So
¿no?
some situation
entendemos.
happens and we don't understand.
Genera la rabia,
Then anger
y
comes
genera la tristeza,
or sadness
genera el miedo.
comes or fear
Todo
comes.
produce porque no entendemos,
All
no
that's
entendemos.
produced because we don't understand.
Eso yo quiero decir causa fundamental, el Buda hablaba eso,
I
¿no?
think that's the fundamental cause that Buddha spoke about.
No comprende,
that
¿no?
we just don't comprehend.
Y como recibe el apego, por ejemplo.
And so then our attachment arises
Y
from it.
como la rabia, por
And then
ejemplo.
our aversion or anger also
Entonces,
is
por
play,
eso
at play.
nosotros desarrollar nosotros fundamental, siempre nos hablamos como mindfulness, ¿no? Calma
Mhm.
mental.
And so we really want to develop our mindfulness and our mental calmness.
Mindfulness de la calma mental, principalmente, ¿no?
That we really want to develop that mental calmness.
Porque mente calma, naturalmente tú puedes entender. Tú puedes entender,
So
¿no?
with a calm mind, we can understand.
Ya, tú entiendes, ese de como cada día nosotros estamos practicando, ¿no? Acostumbrando.
Every day we're practicing and becoming more accustomed.
Y en algunos momentos cualquiera sucedió, entonces mucho más mejor, más
And
reacción, ¿no?
then sometimes the other things arise, and then we can
Mucho
respond.
más fácil.
We can respond a lot more easily to the situation.
Y entonces yo quiero que eso importante, seguramente cada uno de nosotros ha avanzado mucho.
I'm sure that we've all advanced quite a bit.
El otro día hablando, Carolina, ¿no? Nosotros, primero, nirvana ese, para mi persona, la amadorche, reconocer nuestro propio veneno.
Hey, Lama was telling me the other day, like the first little nirvana that we experience is just recognizing our own poison.
No, como está, como reconocer, estamos haciendo identificar, ¿no?
You
Quiere
just
decir, ¿no?
identify it.
Porque cuando tenemos eso, puede trabajar realmente,
Because
¿no?
when we have that recognition, then we can actually work with it.
Un ejemplo, yo siempre de uno, vamos, doctor, por ejemplo.
So, for example, we go to the doctor.
Doctor, porque tú duele, tu cuerpo, ¿no? Mucho dolor cuerpo,
Your
¿no?
body is just in pain,
Y tú vas en doctor,
and you go to the doctor.
el doctor dice, no tiene nada de enfermedad.
And then
por
the
ejemplo.
doctor says, you're not sick,
Pero tú igual duele, ¿no?
but you're hurting.
Hay no solución.
And you think, and then there's like no solution.
No solo tú tienes mucho nervioso,
And
¿no?
then you get very nervous. You're like, what's
Yo
actually
tengo dolor,
happening?
¿qué
Like,
está haciendo,
I'm
no?
really feel
Doctor no
sick.
sabe eso.
And the
¿no?
doctor doesn't know what it
Mucho,
is.
¿no? Y cuando dice, oh, doctor dice, tú tienes esa enfermedad.
But when the
¿no?
doctor says you have this sickness,
Como por ejemplo lo de enfermedad de dulce, por
like
ejemplo, ¿no?
maybe you have diabetes,
Entonces ahí puede evitar las dulces.
well, then you can stop eating sweets.
Ya tengo medicina.
Well, I know what the medicine is.
Ya feliz ahora.
All right, now there's a little happiness because you know there's a solution.
Porque ya puede trabajar con eso.
Because I know what to do.
Si no saber qué vamos a hacer.
But if you don't know what to do, what do you do?
Entonces una confusión, ¿no?
So you just stay confused.
Entonces no puede avanzar eso, ¿no?
So then we can't advance.
Por eso yo quiero fundamental nosotros reconocer con momento, con, por ejemplo, cualquier situación, no son aflicciones, ¿no? Y reconocer, oh, yo
So,
tengo eso.
The first thing is with that mindfulness, recognize this is what I'm working with.
Y entonces incluso Tonglen mismo dice, Tonglen,
So
hace Tonglen.
the phrase in Tonglen says,
cada uno nosotros tiene todo la veneno 84,000, por ejemplo, ¿no?
so like we have all 84,000 afflictions.
Pero cada uno nosotros, uno más siempre, poco más se maneja.
But you've got one or a couple that are more at the forefront always.
Sí, cada uno diferente.
Yeah.
No puede ser, la mayoría tal vez tiene más ego, por ejemplo, ¿no?
Like Lama Dorje, you can't say that each person has the same. Like maybe Lama Dorje has more pride.
Ya, mi vida manejando por la siempre ego, por ejemplo,
And
¿no?
I'm always my life is always guided through pride.
Pero otro todo apoyando,
But the other
apoyando,
ones are there supporting,
como equipo.
and they're like a team.
Pero ese team líder, ese ego.
But there is a leader, and it's called pride or
Para
ego.
otro Carolina tal vez pues apego, por ejemplo, o
So
rabia, no
maybe
sé.
Caroline's is attachment or anger.
Pero su equipo diferente,
So my team is a little different,
pero líder diferente, ¿no?
a little bit of a different leader.
Líder, ¿no? ¿Cómo no? Entonces, eso nosotros que tenemos que hacer, identificar líder.
So what we need to do is who's the leader right now?
Oh, ese quiero saber.
That's who we want to work with.
Quiere cambiar mi líder.
I want to change my leader
Y si no está manejando bien.
because my leader is not driving well.
Oh, ya identificamos,
So
¿cierto?
identify it
Damos educación.
and educate that leader.
Transformar, ya.
Transform it.
Otro, como un líder amorosa, ¿no?
Change it to a loving leader.
Entonces, eso todo ha de identificar, reconocer,
So
¿no?
that identification is first. So just to tie it back to the question that Rasa asked, I think that one of the things that are showing that the practices are starting to work or that you're applying them well is when we can start to have the mindfulness of what's actually going on. Maybe we can't resolve it fully, but the mindfulness of like, this is what I'm working with right now.
Ya, tener más conciencia, cuando quiere
Is
decir.
having more consciousness. If you feel like responding, you can reopen Rasa, or if someone else wants to ask. You feel good, Rasa? Cool. Does anyone else have a question? Is that Nicole? Hello, and then Janessa. I saw Nicole raise her hand.
I was waving, but also sort of raising my hand.
Okay.
I don't know if it's a thought that is sort of a question, and I'm sure you'll be able to turn it into a question for me, Carolina. But so once you transform the leader, doesn't someone else become the leader? And then you transform that one too, or what's that process like?
Are you talking about specifically when we still have an affliction as a leader?
Yeah, like, no, not actually as a leader, but saying like ego is the leader of your team. You know, then you transform ego into a loving. You transform ego into a loving leader. Then does maybe like attachment become the leader? You know, they're like, well, I want to be the leader now, and then that becomes kind of the bigger issue.
Yeah, that's what I meant. So then it's like whenever there's another affliction still arising as a leader, rather than like patience now became. So su pregunta es cuando ya tienes un veneno.
Yeah.
Y este veneno, por ejemplo, tú ya lo enfrentas a este veneno, pero después otro veneno toma su espacio. Entonces, ¿qué es este proceso? Como ya, es como, por ejemplo, en mi caso, yo puedo ser sincera, yo estaba trabajando rabia y después abajo de eso puedo ver apego. Cuando no es mi manera, surge la rabia. Entonces, en general, la rabia no era el líder, era como tapando. Pero abajo es el otro. Entonces ella preguntando cómo podemos manejar eso.
Okay.
I'll just repeat it because there's somebody else here and we're on headphones. So just like, what do we do? What's that process of whenever we're working with an affliction that's taking the lead? And then, once we've addressed it, then another one takes the lead. And just to give Lama an example, I gave my own example. Like for me, agitation can kind of take the lead, but really it's just a cover up because under it is attachment. When something doesn't go my way, that's when I get agitated. And so that's not actually the one that we're addressing. It's like, there's actually another one to also address. And is that similar to what you're asking, Nicole? Like when we're having to continuously address the next leader in line? Listo.
Ya dice, por ejemplo, si cambiamos ese, otro va a tomar.
Yeah,
¿no?
como cambiamos un líder y después otro líder viene en el filo, ya están en fila.
Claro, pero eso yo quiero decir, cuando un líder tiene una elección, ¿no? Tiene otros acuerdos, no puede subir.
Okay.
No puede tomar segundo inmediato porque tiene acuerdos, ¿no? Para subir la líder necesita un acuerdo, ¿cierto?
Okay.
No puede cambiar, o que tasa cambio eso, no puede eso.
Okay.
Generalmente una comunidad cambia la líder presidente, por ejemplo. Okay, yo voy a subir, no puede, ¿cierto? Todo acuerdo, una votación.
Okay. We're going to go with this metaphor. So he's saying, when people get elected to become a leader, like the leader doesn't just take the lead by itself, like the other ones have to vote for him. They have to actually like vote them into office.
¿No? Pero fundamental cuando cambio ese líder, yo creo, ¿no? Cuando damos educación, significa cuando no va a cambiar, porque él puede influenciar realmente. Imagino, presidente no nace a cambiar, por ejemplo, presidente mismo da educación, el pueblo está bien.
Estoy un poco perdida, podemos estar
Mira,
más.
uno líder, por ejemplo, no necesita cambiar, ¿cierto? dar solo education, que manejar bien.
Okay, so he just said, like, you don't actually have to change the leader. You just have to tame the leader, educate the leader to lead in a better way.
Entonces, cuando cambiamos, y él tiene otro resto, tiene que escuchar y él, ¿cierto?
So when he changes, then the others also listen.
Por ejemplo, una confusión, ya, líder de la confusión, por ejemplo,
Let's say the leader is confusion.
confusión, ¿cierto? Ahora, a través de confusión, todo el equipo confusión, ¿cierto? Toda la aflicción de confusión.
So then you've got confusion and then you've got the team of confusion.
Yo ese de confusión transforma, él mismo,
So
ya,
if
natural
if
él
I just
mismo,
transform the confusion
la sabiduría,
into wisdom,
más consciente,
to be more conscious, more
todas
mindful,
las subsidiarias cambian
all
automáticamente,
of their
naturalmente,
all the other ones will shift automatically.
no va a subir.
They won't be elected into office.
Es más difícil es de transformar, ¿no? Dar educación, ¿no?
So it's better to transform it into, could you use something como muy tangible, como
Y esa
una
es mi
experiencia?
opinión.
¿Puedes dar algo muy tangible como una experiencia que puede tener en la diario?
No sé cómo aplicar. Yo
Okay.
diciendo, por ejemplo, uno rabia, yo transformo uno la confusión, y seguramente tiene rabia, disminuye el apego, disminuye rabia,
Sí,
disminuye el
puedes
ego,
dar,
todo, ¿no?
solo yo pidiendo, ¿puedes dar un ejemplo de
No sé, yo no
la
tengo,
vida en
no
general?
tengo específico eso. ¿No?
Okay, por
Tú puedes
ejemplo,
comentar
no,
algo.
yo preguntando,
ya,
sinceramente,
ya.
no tengo comentario.
Ya.
Yo te da un ejemplo y puedes explicar. Yo, por ejemplo, sí tengo rabia en el trabajo, porque algo, yo quería, no sé, yo quería hacer algo en el terreno y una persona cambió mi plan y yo tengo rabia. ¿Me puedes explicar eso?
¿Cómo cambiar qué?
Por ejemplo, alguien me dijo me va a apoyar en el terreno y después ellos no me apoyaban. Entonces cambio el plan y yo vengo con rabia. Rabia es el líder. ¿Puedes explicar en un ejemplo muy específico
Ah, no sé.
cómo
Eso.
cambiar la confusión y todo eso?
Todo eso de cómo se llama, ahora cómo comunicar eso. Todo ese líder conectado todos los venenos, ¿no? Si tú consigues la paciencia, entendimiento de eso, todo otro veneno no va a seguir eso.
Mhm.
Y eso quiere
So
decir.
he's saying like, I asked for a really like practical example. Like, for example, like if I'm on the land and someone said they're going to help me do something with the land and then they don't, and then anger arises as the leader. So he's like, if you can maintain yourself to have mindfulness and to have understanding, to find understanding, all those other poisons that are mixed in, like competition or blame, all these other things, they're automatically going to disappear if you can just address that top one.
Y también ese de también cada esa rabia, aflicción tiene todo cause condition, ¿no? Y él no puede tener solo, ¿cierto?
Mhm.
Porque rabia igual tiene confusión, ¿cierto? Porque no entiende cambiar ese planes, porque no entiende impermanencias,
Mhm. So,
porque tal vez tiene mucho apego porque quiere mi manera, ¿no?
Mhm.
Y ego.
Mhm.
Mm.
So he's saying you can see how all of the elements interplay into it. Anger arose because I wanted it my way, which is attachment, which is like wanting to control someone else, and like what they want to do. And you don't understand all of the causes and conditions. So there's confusion there. So there's a misunderstanding. And there's kind of like competition, and wanting it my way, not your way. So there's like jealousy intermixed too. So all of these things are combined all in that one action.
Y claro, completamente no se transforma las aflicciones solo hasta despertar conflicto, ¿no?
So we won't,
Por lo menos uno más como la principal, como líder, yo diciendo, disminuir.
so like, of course, we're still not fully awakened. So until we're fully awakened, we're still going to have afflictions, but at least we can conquer that, like that one, and conquer that situation.
Eso yo creo. Y cómo puede formar la imagen de ese líder, no se transformando con la bodhisattva, por ejemplo, ¿no?
So you would transform that leader into bodhicitta.
Ese líder, ok, educamos, y él mismo, ¿ya? Mismo, damos educación, ¿no?
So educate that leader
Con la, no sé, como amorosa o bodhisattva, ¿cierto?
with bodhicitta.
Automáticamente desaparece el resto,
And
¿no?
so the rest will disappear.
Naturalmente poco, ¿no? Porque no tienen no tiene derecho de hacer negativa opinión porque el líder es de bodhicitta. O yo tengo opinión de rabia, no puede, por ejemplo.
Uh-huh. And so, yeah, when you have bodhicitta, then the rest are just gonna fall in line in a good way.
Eso yo pensé,
that
no sé, alguien tiene
Answer
comentario
what
puede, ¿ya?
you wanted, Nicole? And
Alguien-
Janessa had a.
No,
had-
diciendo otro tiene opiniones sobre eso, también
Does
puede, ¿ya?
anybody, if anyone else has an opinion around this very particular question or topic, you can go ahead and share.
Ya.
I think it makes sense to have to focus on one first, you know, or just focus on one and that you're able
Yo
to
casi
see
no
where-
escuchando nada, ¿ya? No sé, es muy bajo.
Go ahead, Nicole.
I was just saying that I think it
Más
makes
alto puede.
well, Amma said makes sense.
Yeah,
To focus
thank you,
on-
sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. To focus on the one and then see where the other ones connect are underneath it, like you said, like with anger, that there's like really that was almost like the reaction of attachment to something else, and it would feel a lot more impossible to be like, oh, here are my 5 poisons and how they're involved in all the things and trying to solve all of them at the same time, and that would be I mean, that is overwhelming because sometimes I do that. I'm like, oh no, all these poisons.
Entiende, está de acuerdo diciendo que sí, es mucho más posible cuando tomamos una sola veneno y intentamos arreglar eso, porque si pensamos en todos los venenos, es pues causar más confusión.
Claro, exactamente. Como internal líder, ¿no?
Sí.
Eso.
Exactly, it's like transforming the leader.
I guess my a quick follow-up question is like, how is it bad if you identify the poison incorrectly? Or I guess it's always kind of one of the 5 poisons is always involved, right?
Está mal si incorrectamente. Ada, ¿puedes bajarlo un poco?
Tal vez no, no, audio no hay.
Yeah, so, okay. We got a lot of action over here, y'all. Today. There's like so much going on. It's like, okay, we're with you. We got this.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Está diciendo que, ¿y qué pasa que si por accidente como no definir el correcto veneno, pero importa o no importa?
¿Cómo definir qué?
Como si tienes una dificultad y no realmente llegas al saber, era confusión, tú piensas es apego, pero
Oh, yeah.
igual va a ayudar o no.
Oh, ya. No, realmente no reconocemos.
No
Oh, ya.
reconociendo exactamente cuál es. Tú
Okay.
piensas es apego, pero realmente es
Ah,
confusión.
otro. Oh, ya. No es importante eso, no
Yeah.
entiendo, ¿no? Porque igual está conectado.
Yeah.
Alguna manera parte de familia de ellos.
Yeah, he said it's okay because they're related, and just by working with it, like it'll start to influence the other. And that's how you find it. Like you start working with where you're at, and then you're like, oh, this was underneath it. And you start working with that one, and you're like, oh, under that was this. You know, so they all.
Claro, y el descubrir mismo, ¿no?
Yeah,
Porque me imagino,
itself will appear.
uno de la familia encuentra, ¿cierto? Poco a poco tú preguntando a esa persona, ¿cierto? O descubrir todo, ¿cierto? Poco a poco.
Yeah, so it's like
Como una familia.
it's like if you go meet a family, you meet one person in the family, little by little, they introduce you to the family, like, hey, here's my family.
Eso todo, ¿no? Como por ejemplo, oh, yo tengo apego, por ejemplo, ¿no?
So you're like, I have
Por
attachment.
ejemplo, ¿no? Mi líder es apego, por ejemplo, ¿no?
So my leader is attachment.
Entonces, ¿cómo viene? ¿Cómo produce apego?
How is attachment produced?
Otro día no está hablando, ¿no? Apego es más desafío normalmente, ¿no?
So attachment is very challenging.
En tibetano dice apego, uno de Sudra dice, ¿no? Apego es como amigo,
Like
amigo cercano.
attachment is like your close friend.
Como rabia es como enemigo.
Oh, and anger is like something we don't like. It's like our enemy.
Porque es mucho más fácil y rabia es enemigo,
So
mucho fácil
we can always be like,
desapegar.
when we have anger, we know socially, we know it's not acceptable. We're like, I shouldn't have anger. Like, we're like, oh, I know not to have
Muy
this.
como desagradable
Because
eso,
it's
¿no?
also
Sentimiento.
unpleasant.
es mucho más fácil, ¿cierto?
And so,
Pero momento muy como, y es muy fuerte rabia,
but then in a moment when you've
muy
got
fuerte,
really
pero-
strong anger,
pero igual al mismo tiempo más fácil dar cuenta de
but
eso.
it's very easy to recognize it, and it's very easy to be like, that's not something I want to keep.
Porque un amigo cercano dice apegar, ¿qué pasa?
But detachment.
Un amigo cercano muy difícil separarse.
But then when someone's your friend, you really don't want to like detach from it.
Es como su apego,
This is like attachment.
porque él hace bien.
Because
Un momento, ¿no?
because attachment is something we desire. It's something that we could convince ourselves that we deserve it.
Muy
It's
sutilmente,
good
¿no?
for our life.
Yeah.
You deserve this. You deserve time for you. All those things that we say. And so it's so subtle and it's so sultry that we want to keep it. So we don't know that we need to get rid of it.
Entonces, por eso yo diciendo seguir volviendo y siempre tiene una causa, ¿no? Y eso, ¿no?
So it always has a cause.
Porque apego también fondo no sabe, ¿no? Por confusión,
So
¿no?
attachment always has this confusion because we don't know that it's not good for us.
Realmente como nosotros pensamos más profundo,
But we
¿cierto?
have to think deeper
Con profundo, mirar como amplios, ¿no?
and look wider.
Dice apego ver uno solo lado, dicho
They
tibetano.
say like attachment only sees from one angle.
No ver completo,
It
dice, ¿no?
can't see the whole picture.
Solo ver frente, ¿no?
It only sees
Es
what's right in
muy
front
lindo,
of you.
bonito,
It's
¿no?
very beautiful.
Pero no sabemos atrás qué tiene, ¿no?
And so we don't know what's behind it.
Entonces, solo eso. Más o menos.
Thank you.
Ya,
Janessa, I think you had a question
Yes.
too.
disculpe, ya aprendo mucho a veces.
Well, kind of related, but then now I have a different question. So when you talk about attachment, okay, so like, I think the thing I work with the most is anger. And when Carolina was talking about like, okay, so if I get angry, something doesn't happen the way it should, it's because I was attached to the thing, right? But what if it's like a healthy thing? Like, for example, sometimes I get angry when my son doesn't eat well. Like I find out he ate junk food because I want him to eat well and I want him to eat at home and eat the food I'm going to cook for him. So like that would just be an example of an attachment that is actually for his well-being. So how would I work with that? Because I don't want to get angry every time he eats junk food, but that's just like a benign example of.
Está preguntando.
Cayendo.
Sorry, I almost fell over. My chair got a little unstable. Okay, we're good. Okay. Okay. So, ella está preguntando sobre de como, por ejemplo, cuando tiene rabia, pero es para el bien de su hijo. Como su hijo come algo mal en la calle o algo con amigos, pero ella quiere que él come en la casa, come bien para su salud y para su bienestar. Pero surge una rabia, pero es por su bienestar. Entonces, ¿cómo podemos trabajar eso? No quiero tener rabia cada vez que él tiene un problema. Cada vez que él come mal. Pero eso es just un ejemplo pequeña de cómo es porque viene de mi apego. Yo apegado a su salud. Entonces, quiero saber cómo funciona eso.
Claro, eso nosotros llamamos otro día, ¿no? Como siempre nace de fuerza, una fuerza de madre, ¿no?
So we always need that strength of the mother.
Porque cuando tú sientes esa rabia, no sentirte como golpearse a tu hijo, ¿cierto?
So,
No sentir.
but whenever you're like angry, you're not thinking like, I want to like hit my child or just, like hurt him.
Pero seguir tu ama, ¿no?
But it's actually coming
Incondicionalmente,
from
¿no?
unconditional love.
Entonces yo creo eso de una manera de fuerza, pero falta a veces poco sabiduría.
It's a manner of strength and love, but sometimes our skill lacks the wisdom.
Como ausencia, ¿no?
We have a little bit of
Como
lacking
una forma de hablar,
like the
una
way
forma
to
de,
speak to him,
y con amorosamente,
the loving way
sabiamente,
in the wise way to let him know,
y tú puedes más poner el límite, ¿no?
and then to how to actually put a limitation,
No dando dinero mucho, por
not
ejemplo,
giving
depende,
him
¿no?
money to buy it.
No, y eso yo no permite, ¿no?
So
Puede
we have
decir,
to
¿no?
find skillful ways to not allow it.
Y puede hablar con él,
And we can
muy
speak with him
sinceridad, ¿no?
Very sincerely.
Dice, hijo, mamá, no tengo beneficio nada, tiene que
So
decir,
like
¿no?
the mother, like you tell the child, like this doesn't benefit me personally in any way.
Y tú vas a enfermar eso, por ejemplo,
This
¿no?
is going to make you sick.
Entonces, por ejemplo, casi tu propio hijo puede hablar eso,
So you
¿no?
can speak with your child.
Pero otra persona tú tienes eso, ¿no? Porque
But if this arises with you with other people,
alguna persona a veces no escucha, ¿no?
sometimes people don't listen
Ni gusta corregir,
and they don't like you to correct them
porque siente más rabia, ¿no?
because then they get more
Tú
angry.
digo, ¿ese es mal para ti? No, yo sabe.
If they're like,
no
this is
gusta, no
bad
le
for you,
quiero.
and then they get angry, they're like, no, I can do what I want.
Entonces, ese caso yo quiero que mejor soltar poco.
So in that case, it's better to let go.
Dejar y tener oportunidad de hablar muy
And if-
como la
And
tranquilidad,
if you have
¿no?
another moment to speak to them with tranquility,
Y tú puedes enviar desde lejos una energía
you could
positiva, algo
send them
puede, ¿no?
positive energy from far
Y momentos,
in
¿no?
a moment.
Pues ese de como si fuera huevo y no está cocido,
It's
va a
like-
quebrar, ¿no?
It's like if the egg isn't cooked, it's gonna break.
Entonces ahí como sentir compasión fundamental,
So-
sentimiento de compasión.
So you can feel compassion.
Eso muchas personas pasa el mundo, me he preguntado mucho, no solo tú,
This
¿no?
happens in the world.
Mucha gente tiene esa dificultad, ¿no? Muchas personas dicen, Lama, yo mucho rabia, personas hacen malta en la tierra, ¿no?
Like a lot of people say, like, I feel angry because people are destroying the earth.
Yo incluso, yo sentí momento,
I
¿no? Por
also
suerte,
feel that too.
realmente mucho, demasiado malta, ¿no?
It's too much. It's like a lot of ill being.
Entonces, yo no subresente ese de rabia, ¿cierto? No
Like-
apoya nada,
Like
¿cierto?
this anger doesn't help
No
them.
apoya.
It really doesn't.
Mejor yo mento desde lejos para cambiar su mente, con
Maybe-
claridad.
Maybe I send well-being from far that their mind will change with clarity.
Y yo tampoco no puedo controlar,
And
¿cierto?
I also can't control them.
Y por lo menos mi mente puede hacer, yo amorosa con mí mismo, ¿no?
And at least my mind can be loving
Y aceptar con eso,
and it
¿no?
can be accepting
Porque cada persona depende del punto de vista,
because everyone has a different
gusta,
point
¿no?
of view.
Entonces respetar
And
eso,
so
¿no?
we respect it
Y uno lado, uno compasión, ¿no?
and compassion.
Yo quiero que eso, yo pensé de eso, no sé, ¿no?
I think it's challenging too, like, well, with your son, like that it's coming from love, so it makes sense. But I understand, like, I don't know, I'm just imagining a situation where stuff like that happens in work, like, or people that we're working with or living with that aren't exactly our family. Like, it's great because when it's your child, it's, fairly sure it's coming from unconditional love, but it's harder to practice when it's not someone that came from our body. So I feel like, yeah, I'm imagining in a situation where it's like from work, we really have to question our motivation a lot. What I hear Lama saying is like, we have to really question our motivation and also question our skill. And we talked about this the other day at the Monday talk, but Buddha's recommendation on speech is it all comes down to our skill. As long as it's true, kind, and helpful, whether we say it or not depends if we think we can actually deliver it in a good way and if the other person can receive it in a good way. And if we don't think that we have the skill to help someone shift, then it's better to just accept it internally. But if we actually have this, if we believe we have the skill and we can deliver it at the right time and in a good way, then we should always give it a try to help someone. Yes, Papa Brad.
Por eso, disculpe, un artículo muy cortito, muy importante, nosotros siempre diferenciar personas. Imagina una persona haciendo muy malo, no puede poner 100% es persona malo,
Right.
porque separar su conducta, su
Right.
naturaleza,
And it's
eso es
good,
importante.
it's really good. I'm going to say what he's saying. It's good to not judge the person too. Like, don't just say this is a bad person. We actually have to be able to separate that they have some negative habits right now, some negative conduct, but their essence is pure. So we also have to make sure we're not coming from judgment.
No, ya, eso es importante, ¿no?
Go ahead, Brad. I'm going to do this so Jeffrey can hear.
Ahora menos.
Okay. Gracias, Lama. And Carolina. Buenos dias. So I've got one of these questions. It kind of seems like the lesson I am taking as in a nutshell, when the going gets tough, the tough Bodhisattva gets going. And I can see that. I have got a situation that I keep coming back to, and it is someone who the going has really gotten tough for, as tough as things can be. and they're an acquaintance of mine, not a close friend, but an acquaintance, and they are basically looking at the end of their life. They've got an illness that they're basically on hospice. They're giving them as much drugs as they want to have because they're in constant pain, and it's a terminal situation. And I just heard the question, because this person is in Oregon here. You can end your own life if you choose, and this person is planning to do so. And they've asked the question, what comes after this? And I know this is a huge question. We could probably do 37 lessons on what comes after this. But I'm, looking to see simply how I can help the situation for this person to have some little bit of guidance to, like you say, if you go to the doctor and he says there's something you can do, then you have some peace with that. And in his passing, if there is some gem of knowledge that I could hand that the person could hold on to as they go through this transformation, that I think would be good. And this is an opportunity to talk to our Lama about this. I would be very grateful.
No, es una pregunta.
Yeah.
Está diciendo que hay una persona que tiene una enfermedad para morir. Está en el hospital, está en su punto de vida. Y en Oregon, tú puedes decir al doctor para tomar tu vida, darte una inyección para terminarlo. ¿Ya? Entonces, el amigo pregunté, Brad, ¿qué es después esto? ¿Qué pasa después esto con la vida? Y él bromeando diciendo, yo sé que podemos tener 37 charlas para hablar de eso mismo, qué pasa después, pero algo corto, sencillo que puedo consejo dar mi amigo.
Okay.
Fuerte pregunta, sí.
Sí, buena pregunta. Sí, él dijo, ¿cómo puede hacer este caso, no?
En ese caso, ¿qué es un buen consejo? Porque su amigo no sepa qué va a pasar después de la muerte, ¿cierto? Entonces, ¿qué es algún consejo que puede dar a su amigo?
¿De posibilidad de él no inyectar y él aceptar o no?
He said, my first question, would it be possible if you suggested to him not take his life early? Would he possibly accept that?
It's possible, but what we're talking about is quality of life, and he is in constant pain, and if he's not in constant pain, he's drugged until he doesn't know what he's doing, and ultimately he has a tumor growth that is going to end his life. So he's kind of looking to do it on his own terms. So that's his situation.
And would he be open to, if there was a suggestion to not take his life on his own terms, would he be open to it from a friend?
That's questionable. He has set dates, and then he's passed these dates, and he's had, while being in pain, been able to have some good days with friends, but I think at some point he's going to have a bad day, and he's going to choose to leave. So
Posible, no es siempre, porque puse una fecha y después crucé la fecha. So,
y él puede hablar.
Yeah, he can talk, pero está en tanto dolor que realmente está pensando de hacer eso.
Yo, como honestamente, no gustaría morirse, ¿no?
Yeah.
Porque como también leí de la Buda, también ahí habla, ¿no? Un proceso de purificación, ¿cierto? Después, si él no está limpiando bien, seguramente su vida para una liberación después. Si no alcanza a limpiar.
He's like, just to be really honest and truthful with you, according to like the law of cause and effect and according to the teachings of the Buddha, if he could possibly not take his life, it might be more of benefit because he's in a process of karmic purification. And if he
Mhm.
doesn't fully let it take its course, then he will have to continue purifying in the
Okay.
next step.
Porque si no terminado, ese puede seguir siguiendo otra
So
vida.
it will
como
continue
normal.
in another life. That level of pain will continue if it doesn't just fully take its course now.
No es como uno
Okay.
pagar uno como la
It's
vida
not
como
like you're
espíritu,
just,
¿no?
you don't just put out the candle. Like it's not just gonna,
Es uno
I
proceso,
see.
¿no?
it's a
Pues
process.
ideal ese como él puede utilizar algo, transformar como aceptación, aguantar poco.
Tonglen.
Como Tonglin será maravilloso.
Tonglen would
¿no?
be a
Yes, sir.
very good one for him
Si
to
no-
know about. And also like if he could use
Ah,
this
mhm.
experience to really accept this and accept it on behalf of other beings and really allow himself to purify, that would be the best way.
Yeah.
I understand. Now, would it be, I've heard that at his time of passing, to have held strongly in his mind compassion towards all beings, that this is the mindset for when he does go through this passage. Is that correct? I mean, is that
Está
something we can
correcto
offer?
que durante su tiempo de pasar que
Ujú.
debe poner en su mente la intención para ayudar a todos los seres.
Exactamente. Eso es positivo.
Yeah,
Sentir positivo sin miedo.
keep the mind positive with an intention to help all beings and and keep it positive without fear.
Si yo menos no voy a dañar ninguna serie.
At the very
Okay.
least, I'm not going to hurt a single
Voy a
being.
hacer como ayuda a los
I'm
seres
going to help
mismos.
all beings,
Con mente
That's-
budista, ¿no?
keeping the
Ellos no
mind of
saben tal vez, ¿no?
bodhicitta.
Como
Okay.
eso
All right. Very good. Very good. Well, like I say, this is
Yeah.
not like a dear friend. I am not in great strife necessarily because of this, but I'm of course concerned as we are for anyone. And I thank you for your help. And I will do what I can to make his
Thank you.
passage easier. All right.
Thank you.
Gracias. Gracias.
Ahora la educación puede ser.
Mhm.
Terminamos.
So Lama said now he'd like to do a dedication prayer.
Ya, ahora
Bien.
hoy digamos hasta ahí. Y seguimos reflexionamos sobre eso, ¿no? Que hablamos, ¿no?
So continue to reflect over what we spoke about
Contemplando.
and contemplate.
Changjo Zenjo Rainbow Je Wana Yeyo Je Yewa Yamba Meba Yang Gone Gone Yo Changjo Zenjo Rainbow Je Ma Yewana Yeyo Je Yewa Yamba Meba Yang Gone Gone Meba Yo.
May the precious and excellent bodhicitta arise
Rise
where it has not
arisen.
arisen. May it never decline where it has arisen. And may it always increase more and more.
Inhalando profundamente.
So breathing in,
La
deeply,
bodhicitta.
bodhicitta,
Exhalando bodhicitta.
exhaling, bodhicitta.
Cada respiración puede ayudar millones de seres.
That each breath can help millions of beings.
Pura amor y compasión.
Pure love and
Y
compassion.
conectamos, nos naturaliza, fundamento, puriza.
And connecting to the purity of our fundamental nature.
Naturaliza todos los somos seres, incluyendo seres insectos, tiene puriza.
Our true nature is pure, including all animals and all insects and all beings.
Solo un momento de conectar con eso.
Just connect with this
Confíen con eso, confiar
and trust this
y sentir amor,
and feel love,
sentir paz
feel peace,
y volviendo nuestra mente hacia nuestro corazón.
and return your mind to your heart.
Todos seres volver a su casa,
And may all beings return to their home,
su casa natal.
their natal home, their innate home.
Casa natal es como mente Dharmakaya.
The mind of Dharmakaya is the innate home.
Solo sentir todo ser está conectado con eso.
Just feeling that all beings are connected with this.
Más allá de forma,
Beyond form,
más allá de elaboración del pensamiento conceptualiz.
beyond conceptual elaboration,
Solo deja uno mente inocente un bebé,
Just allowing the mind to return like the innocence of a baby.
donde no hay dualista
There's
preferencia.
no dualistic preferences.
Ese nosotros somos,
This is who we are.
pero no puede decir algo formas. Más allá de palabras.
It's beyond form and it's beyond words.
Solo puede experimentar cada uno de nosotros.
We can't even talk about it. We just have to experience it.
Inhalar, sentir ese
Inhale and just experience that
infinito espacio.
infinite space.
Descansa un minuto.
Just rest here for a moment. Mhm.
Inhalamos, exhala profundamente.
Inhaling and exhaling deeply.
Ah. Ok. Muchas gracias. Thank you.